Hi, Frank again, and I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. We all took breaks and everything, had a couple days off, ate some good food. Yeah! I'd also wish my brother a happy late birthday. I know it was yesterday, but I was at work, so happy birthday, bud. Bro, you know who you are. But I'm here to bring you another exciting reading of Douglas Jerrod. Now, after we have gone on the journey with Douglas Jerrod to the police station of being drunk and running into stuff, getting arrested, straightening out some police officers and making them look like fools, Wayne and him started walking to the sub sandwich place. Hungry. Wayne was, not Douglas. But, hey, he convinced him to follow him. So, without further ado, Chapter 19. Usual Deception with a twist of unbelievable. Wayne brought back 2 sub sandwiches, one for him and one for Douglas. When he joined Douglas back at their table by the window, he placed a sub for Douglas on the table as Douglas stared aimlessly out the pane glass window they sat in front of. After he placed Douglas's sandwiches on the table, he pulled out his chair and sat down across the table from Douglas. Then he took a drink from his glass that was on the table, a bite from his sandwich, chewed his mouthful, and swallowed it down. They are pretty good. I got you a 6-inch Italian. I told you I wasn't hungry. Suit yourself. Wayne took the sub back after Douglas's snide remark. He took another bite from and another drink. I don't know how anyone could turn down these subs. They are so good, he contemplated while he swallowed down another bite. You just gave me a snack for later. You usually did. You paid for it. You actually did. You paid for it. Never mind the circumstance, the semantics. What did you want to talk about? Douglas carefully thought about how to word what he wanted to say. If he said it wrong, Wayne might not want to talk, or he might wonder how he knew about the information about his father. How strange would it be for him to know about details that he didn't suppose to know? Maybe he should just keep it vague. Did you find out more on my grandfather? I thought you would want to talk about your wife. I want to think about something other than her right now, if you don't mind. Well, I did do more research, and you already know everything I could find. The only person that could tell you more is the person that talked with your grandfather. Edwin? Yes, but he is dead and gone, so the end of the path on that is closed. He passed 2 days ago. Have they found who shot your wife? Wayne asked Douglas before he took the last bite and drink. He was very curious about Carol's shooter. He wasn't very close to her, but it involved his friends closer, and it would help to know the information. Anything to help Douglas. No, I haven't heard anything. Well, if I was a betting man, I would put my money on Mr. Dover. I heard through the grapevine that he had a major vendetta against your family after that bust that happened the other day. You should start there. All right, I will go speak with Mr. Dover, since there is nothing more on my grandfather. Douglas angrily pushed away from the table and irritably stood up. He shot a disturbed look to Wayne while he hovered over the table where they occupied. He then turned away sharply after a second and made his way to the daily door. When he reached the door, Wayne called out to him, "Doug, don't be like that. I did all I could." Douglas waved Wayne's comment off without turning around. After the heated exchange between the two, Douglas stormed out of the corner shop while Wayne looked around and noticed that all the patrons of the restaurant looked at him. He steamed to himself for a moment before he got up for himself. He grabbed the 6-inch sub and followed Douglas out. "Don't you people have something else to do other than gawk at nothing? Return to your meals. There is nothing to see here." Wayne addressed the nosy crowd before he rushed after Douglas. He threw the door open and ran down the sidewalk. After a few steps, he caught up with Douglas while Douglas marched towards the police station. He reached out and grabbed Douglas's arm. "Doug, I will go with you to question Mr. Dover. You don't have to go it alone," Wayne emotionally stated as Douglas turned to him. For some reason, he felt that something, he didn't know what, but something bad was going to happen. Why does these horrible things have to always happen to his pal? He questioned mentally while he waited for Douglas to respond. "Wayne, I appreciate everything you have done for me, but I think I have to do this alone." "Okay, but can I walk with you? It might help you figure out what you are going to say to Mr. Dover. You are such a good person." "Yes." Douglas and Wayne both strolled down to the crosswalk together after their emotional exchange of words. They stood on the curb impatiently as they waited for the walk. "Go ahead." Wayne turned to Douglas while the traffic continued to flow through the intersection. He looked up to the clean-shaven face of his friend and noticed that Douglas's right eye gleamed from green to blue, then back to green. "That was weird." "What is weird?" Your eye changed colors for a brief second." "What?" "Yeah, it changed from green to blue, then back to green. It must be the light. We can go." "Yeah, it must be my eyes playing tricks on me." "Anyway, did you give any thought to what you're going to say to Mr. Dover?" The two of them began to walk quickly across the street while Wayne tried to casually speak of the meeting Douglas had planned. Douglas paused for a moment in his head when they reached the other side of the street. He quickly changed his thinking from pondering how close that came to strangeness to what he might ask Mr. Dover. Probably the usual, if he knew of the hit on my wife, and if so, who did the hit? What do you think he will say? Are you really thinking you will thinking you will have him to answer the first time? No, I am expecting resistance. After that, I don't know, but I will figure it out. Play it as it goes, you know. Douglas honestly verbalized his expectations as the two walked to the holding section of the police station. They both approached the officer at the front desk. The African-American officer looked to the sergeant. The muscular desk jockey nodded out of respect. Sergeant, to what do I owe the visit from you today? I would like to request an audience with Mr. Dover. You're the boss. Oh, my condolences to you. The officer expressed his sentiment before going and retrieving the prisoner in question. While he rushed off, he directed the sergeant to go to the interview room. Douglas turned to Wayne. As Douglas looked to his friend, he put his hand on Wayne's shoulder. This is where we part. Are you sure? I can go with you. If not for backup, for moral support. No, I will be okay. Thanks for the offer, though. Douglas stated his appreciation of Wayne's offer before they separated and went their own ways. Wayne exited to the main police station building as he continued to the interview room. He grabbed the doorknob and opened it when he reached the designated room. After he opened the entrance, he walked in and sat at the table in the middle of the space inside. I wonder what the famous Mr. Dover looks like. Douglas pondered what the infamous man that he kept hearing about right before the prisoner, as escorted by the officer, entered the room in shackles. The officer immediately sat the incarcerated man down across the table from Douglas. The officer then looked to the sergeant before he left. That will be all. You may leave us now. Mr. Dover, I have been hearing a lot about you. Douglas turned his attention to the hardened man. While he observed the prisoner's reaction, he noticed the smile upon the prisoner's face. He then leaned across the hardwood surface towards Mr. Dover. What does this man have to smile about? I was wondering when you would come to talk to me, Douglas, right? How is your wife? I think you know already. That is why I am here. Which one of your jokers did the deed? I don't know what you are speaking of, Sergeant, but can you do me a favor? What kind of favor would I do for you? Just tell your old man that I hope he liked the payment for his help. My father wouldn't help you. Your father is the one behind this all. You should be more open to each other. Douglas stood up from the interview and went to the door. When he reached the door, he motioned for the officer to come retrieve the prisoner. The officer came into the room immediately, stood Mr. Dover out of the chair, and began to lead the restrained man back to his cell. As the man passed by Douglas, the prisoner looked to him. This is not over, Sergeant, but it will be soon. You're done with all your threats. Then they mean nothing. Are you sure about that? Douglas stood at the door with a look of disbelief while Mr. Dover disappeared behind the large metal door to the holding cells. Could this unsavory character, this beast among men, be telling the truth? What does Fred have to shed on the subject? Would my boy, my son, my blood be capable of something as sinister as this? He wildly thought on the way to locate his father. And that was Captain, what are you doing here? That's funny, son. I could ask the same of you. Do you have your reasons? I do. I had a short conversation with Mr. Dover, and you wouldn't believe what he tried to insinuate. I could only imagine what the untrusting son of a bitch told you. Come, we will talk about it in the car. Let's take you home. Douglas and Fred both conversed in the lobby of the station as they bumped into each other. After their briefly slightly heated and unnerved conversation, Fred escorted him to the car that awaited outside. He opened the back door and hopped in before Fred. Fred tapped the window for the limo driver to lower it when Fred sat in the back with him. Take us back to Douglas's house. Yes, sir. Right away. And that was chapter 19. Yes, of Douglas Jerrod. Remember, Douglas Jerrod at SamsonPWillings.com for all your information on Douglas Jerrod. Douglas Jerrod. Douglas Jerrod. Douglas Jerrod. I'm telling you, interesting. Yes. Good day. Good stuff.